I think passengers in many places are going to feel the pain of this, despite the fact some of the fares are going up only just above inflation. They're still piling up on top of already high fares, and passengers are going to have to dig deep to find these new rises in the new year.
The government did actually take some action to cap it lower than we were originally expecting.
The government made a very welcome decision, which was to allow the regulated fares, which are a lot of the commuter type fares, not to rise by too much above inflation. But still 1% above inflation is still quite a lot, and what we'd still like to see the government do in the long term is get the fare rises in line with inflation only. Let's get to that point.
Passengers don't seem to have any option but to pay these fares. I mean, the fares go up, they go up above the rate of inflation, yet trains seem to be even more crowded than ever.
Passengers have very little choice. One good tip though is that if you buy your season ticket before January the 2nd, you can get it at this year's prices. And in some cases that will save you hundreds of pounds. So our advice is to passengers, check now what the prices are and think about buying it in advance.
Can I ask about Kent commuters? With the sort of increase of 5.9% on the Canterbury to London line, 5.2% on Tunbridge to London line, it looks as if they're being unfairly singled out.
I think passengers will have to ask the train company why this is. Train companies are allowed to change the fares on individual routes within an overall limit, but we don't know why particular fares have been selected for particular stations, and I think passengers should ask train companies for an explanation why.
And similarly, you talk about the balance of the fares. So very few of them, but some of them are actually coming down. The Sheffield to London one, for instance. It's
a very mixed picture. We've got some fares coming down, Sheffield to London, for example. Some fares are remaining about the same, but the majority are going up about 4.1, 4.2%. That's what passengers are facing.
And what are passengers telling you when the realisation dawns on them about quite how much more they're going to have to spend next year?
I think there's generally a weary resignation that this seems to happen every year. There's very little choice. People have got to get to work. They have to pay these fares. I think there's a sense that, okay, we've done our part paying you the money. Now you do your part, deliver the trains on time and get me a reasonable chance of getting a seat.